Have you ever had or needed a holidate? It's someone who you strictly bring as a date to functions with no strings attached. It's also the new Netflix original movie starring Emma Roberts and Luke Bracey. So should you bring this one home to dinner or leave it out in the cold? Sloane and Jackson hate being single on the holidays where they face constant judgment from meddling relatives. When these two strangers meet, they pledge to be each other's holidate for every festive occasion throughout the coming year. As I said, Emma Roberts and Luke Bracey star in this, and they are Sloane and Jackson, respectively. This is a rom-com, and you pretty much from the trailer know exactly what to expect. Now, I love romantic comedies. I'm a sucker for them, but there are a couple of hurdles that have to be overcome for me to really enjoy them, and that's cheesiness and freshness. I love the banter between Sloane and Jackson. There is this realness and this rawness to it. I mean, it's unfiltered. It comes across when two people have nothing on the line. So they can say whatever they want because there aren't any strings attached. I mean, there's not even friendship goals here. It's just truly somebody to have at your side at a family function so that you don't get hassled. They speak to each other in a fairly honest demeanor. And while a lot of it was crude, which I could have done without, I did appreciate the freshness and the delivery of the dialogue because it's not coy. They're not playing hard to get. It just, hey, this is me. This is what it is. This is what I wanted to say, so I said it. Now, the supporting cast is a mixed bag. I mean, some of them bring a mean-spirited feel to this, while others are caring. Jessica Capshaw plays Sloane's sister, and while she's supportive most of the time, she does get some digs in here and there. But that's also as a result of some of the other things that she has going on in her own life. Just some of the struggles or some of the feelings that she has pent up that she hasn't voiced, I think are really coming through in her character and being put on to Sloane's character. Frances Fisher plays Sloane's mom, and she's pretty harsh to her daughter. I mean, she's the main instigator of the meanness, and that's also what makes Sloane, first off, not really want to be around family during the holidays, but in order to endure it, to find a holiday. Jake Manley is Sloane's younger brother, and he's pretty much a dork. He's not on screen enough to fully know him, and what we're given, we just kind of feel that maybe he's a few eggs short of a dozen. He's almost a throwaway character, but his character has a fiancée who does have a larger role in the film than he does. The fiancée is played by Cynthia Wu, and you have to have the brother in there for her to really make sense. I guess you could have made her a friend, and that would have been fine, but it would have been a little odd for her to just be showing up at all of these family functions. She's more straight-laced and proper, but she does kind of fit with the fiancé because she's can be a little dim sometimes too. Kristen Chenoweth plays Sloane's aunt, and she is really the inspiration for the holiday. She comes to all of these family functions and brings a different man to every single one. And she's the one who tells Sloane about it. And that's how the idea whole just forms in her head and how she even kind of latches onto it because she sees, well, you know what? The family leaves the aunt alone. I mean, they kind of dismiss it as, well, that's a little, slutty or whatever because she's always bringing a new person. But whatever, at least she's got somebody and she's not single, which I guess is a bad thing. I don't know. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I guess if you accept that being single in this family is a negative, then that makes sense for why you would need to bring somebody to be your date, to be not single. The other option is to just never show up to family functions, which would probably save you a lot of gray hair and a lot of anxiety and probably make you a happier person overall. But that's not what the movie's about. This movie does fall into some of the same tropes that you would expect to see with any rom-com. I mean, you have awkward moment with exes, family pressure to find the one, mixed signals that lead to frustration, and that moment where somebody realizes they have feelings for somebody else. And none of these are bad necessarily. These are really what you're looking for in a budding romance movie. This has some genuinely funny moments in it. I think a lot of them come from situations where I wasn't expecting it, where they caught me off guard and through just some actions or through a behavior, or maybe a slight line of dialogue, that it caused me to laugh out loud. But when the comedy was forced, it was just unfunny. And this happened more than a few times within the film, where there were just portions that you could tell they were trying to go for a laugh, and it fell flat to me. It wasn't funny, it wasn't even engaging, or even make me chuckle. I was just like, that was awkward. Now, there are sweet moments in this also. I mean, I think a lot of that comes from the chemistry that Bracey and Roberts are able to create on screen. They bounce really well off each other, and their banter feels natural. Now, we follow the duo over the course of almost a year because it's focusing on all of the major holidays throughout the year. And so that's, hey, it's a holiday. You're here until I find somebody else. But thankfully, because of that, we don't have to go through all of the mundanities of day-to-day life, that we just skip ahead to each of the holidays and we get to see the encounters there. But this clocks in at an hour and 43 minutes, and it's just a little bit too long. There are parts that continue on too long where it was unnecessary. They should have trimmed it down some, made it a little bit more concise, and what that does then is that picks up the pace of the film and helps to move it along efficiently. As it was when we got to some of these scenes that just kind of went on and on, it broke you out of it. It became a little boring at that spot. Not that it was trying to breathe some, just that there was, we're just extending the scene. So overall, the situations that our characters find themselves in can be humorous and sweet. And after all, this is a romantic comedy, so we know exactly what to expect. I could have used less crudeness and less meanness, and most of that mean spirit comes from the interactions with the mom. And I understand that that's put in there as the motivation for Sloane to find a holiday to bring to the family functions so that then there's no conflict within the family. But I think it probably could have been done a little bit differently. I think that having a different motivation for having a holiday would have been better, would have been less mean-spirited. What that did is that made the mom kind of unlikable, even though she does have good intentions. This is good for a casual watch, but I don't think it's something that's going to become an instant classic or even something that you break out as a yearly watch. There is sex, no nudity, a ton of profanity, and a little violence. I give Holidate 3 out of 5 couches. So have you ever had a holiday? How did it turn out? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for catching with me.